You good, Laura? Okay. Hi, I'm Morgan. I'm part of Theater Arts Society, which is our drama club on campus, and we're going to do the talkback for Drinking Bird. Yay! Okay, if you want to pass this down and just introduce yourself and your name and your role in the production.
Okay. Hi, I'm Rachel Jensen, and I played Swivie in The Drinking Bird.
Hi, I'm Tavia Jenner, and I played Bird in The Drinking Bird.
Hi, I'm Carter Popielarz, and I wrote I directed The Drinking Bird.
Hi, I'm Kacie, Hilliard, and I'm the stage manager of The Drinking Bird.
Hi, I'm Kacie Chase. I play Punchin, Candice Dragin, answering machine mom, and client.
Hi, I'm Dyer, and I wrote The Drinking Bird and was the assistant director.
Hi, I'm Jocelyn Smith. I played Paperweight.
I'm Matthew DeNittis. I played Cooler.
I'm Nikko Hunt, and I played Boss.
I am Owen Gaston. I designed the lights for the show.
I'm Taelyn Clark. I designed the scenery and props for the show.
I am Isaac Burford, and I designed sound.
First, we're going to ask our audience, does anybody have any questions for these guys about the show or their process throughout? What's your question, Jocelyn?
Immediately. Wonderful job. How hard was the physicality for the actors?
Who wants the mic?
Pass it to Matt.
It was not hard at all for me. For me personally, because I think that Cooler is like very aligned with sort of who I am in real life. So I feel like a lot of the physicality is shared between me and the character. So it wasn't too much work to put myself in that sort of body.
Can I speak on it? For me, it was a little different because Boss is not like me at all. And so it was just learning different movement vocabulary, and Carter helped out a lot with that. So, yeah.
I had to be so weird and creepy, and I feel like it didn't take that long, but like it was like a lot of what do I do? Like I feel like I just had to like complete opposite and like just anything that would be uncomfortable, just do it and see what happens, and it worked. So yeah.
Anybody else? Okay, do you have any other questions? What's your question?
I have a question for Rain. What was like your biggest inspirations in writing it?
Hot potato. I just wanted to write something really silly. It really started out as just sort of a stream of consciousness thing. I was really inspired by the obligation of writing it for a class, and then after we read the first little bit of it, it seemed to really resonate with the people in the class, and I started to like it of my own volition, and I just wanted to make fun of corporatized life in a way, and highlight toxic work environments in a fun and silly, goofy kind of way, while also sort of pointing out some of the struggles of mundane life and staying in the same lane and not trying to grow past it or move beyond the same thing every day. So yeah.
Any other audience?
Yeah, Rachel, because you're in this crazy world, so how did you find that balance of playing the straight character but still finding yourself in the world?
That's a great question. I think in the beginning, coming into this process, I thought it would be really hard because I was like, oh my gosh, everyone else is so goofy and I'm such a serious character. But I feel like enjoying everybody else's goofiness and it adding onto it during rehearsal processes made that disconnect from my character, from their character, so much easier to manage because, especially because Tavia and I have such a good relationship and we trust each other a lot. So that groundedness of Swivie really takes that staying stagnant approach in life, and really just reminds Bird to come back to reality a little bit within this crazy world of, you know, Paperweight and Cooler and Boss and everyone. So yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Cool.
Lovely. Does anybody else have a question? Okay, I have questions. Tavia, what was it like navigating Bird's inherent silliness with his emotional reality?
I feel like I kind of drew upon my own kind of feelings about situations like this, where I feel like I'm the type of person that like takes things really seriously before they become funny, and I feel like Bird's kind of the opposite of that, where I feel like Bird kind of makes light of things that are happening in his life and then they feel more serious later. So I felt like I had to be very conscious about playing it that way, of like that me as Tavia, some interactions between like Swivie, for example, I was like, no, I understand like what's going on and how intense this is, but like I had to switch it in my brain and be like, no, I think that Bird would find this really funny. So I think it was kind of just like drawing on the opposite of my own feelings about the things. Yeah.
Okay. Matthew. Cooler shows up both in Bird's normal reality at the apartment and in the exaggerated reality of the office. How are the two versions similar and how are they different?
I think the most like surface level difference between like Bird's home Cooler and office Cooler is that at Bird's house, Cooler smokes weed, and at the office, Cooler does coke. So there's a bit of a disconnect there. Like Cooler's energy is a lot more present in the office than at home. So he's sort of like the type of person that's really lets loose in a comfortable space, but also has the capacity to like show up and be present, but still be like crazy, I guess.
Okay. My next one's for Jocelyn, so it's actually going back. But you play a character that is so themselves. Even the face of judgment from each other characters. How did the reactions from your scene partners inform the choices that you made?
Yeah, we kind of got into this at the beginning of the rehearsal process when we were doing table work with each other and just figuring out who we were as our characters. I kind of drew the conclusion that Paperweight just is aware that everyone does not like his presence. And he's like, has this total sense of like, I'm okay with that. And in fact, that's gonna make me more myself. And like, I just think Paperweight is just, you do not want to run into Paperweight. And yeah. My reaction from my scene part, I feel like that gave me fuel because they'd like give me a look and I'm like, okay, so if they're giving me a look, I'm doing something right. I'm being creepy and that's good, especially in this scenario. So yeah, you guys really helped me. Thank you. I love this. This is so fun.
Okay, Rachel. My question for you is very similar to Matthew's. How did you stay emotionally grounded between the two different spaces and the two different realities? I could do like an
Can I hold it? Is it okay? Okay. Yeah, that's so interesting. I was thinking about that actually when Matt was answering that question. I think it's cool because Matt Cooler we see in the beginning, and then we see him come into the office, whereas we see only me come into the office, and then we see me out of the office at the end. And I think that it's so interesting because Swivie to Bird, in his kind of like mental illusions, I'm kind of like an awful, mean, kind of like naggy character. Like, I'm not awful, but I'm definitely fed up with like the stagnance of Bird. And I think that Swivie outside of that character remains the same way. And that's why she's so grateful when, you know, she kind of comes into Bird's place and sees him cleaning up. And I also think too, like Swivie and Bird, Tavia and I had a lot of conversations about the love that like we have and like how long Swivie and Bird have been together. So I think that really helped narrow it down a lot too. So
awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Kacie, you are quadruple cast in the show. What was your process of finding the difference and the separation between all of your characters?
It's a good question. I used to actually physicalize it before we had me up in the booth because I'm doing those voices all entirely live. So, like, I usually say a phrase, or I just like for client, I'd put my hand up there and I'd, like, kind of make a bit of a scowl, and for like, it's like answering machine mom, I'd pretend I was scared because she's in a basement somewhere because of Paperweight. I had like a kind of a phrase that I do. I won't say it here, but just like or like, Bob, there's shrimp on sale at the next exit. That's the closest thing I can say to what the actual thing is. But like just kind of like the nasally sort of shrill awfulness, and for Candice Dragin, it's just like a complete opposite kind of girly girl self, because I think Candice knows what she's doing. She knows that she gets hired to do that bit for people, and so she's completely okay with being fired because that's the end of the contract. But like Punchin's the only character I'm on stage for, so that one I just kind of, I know it's like kind of anger, but also like a bit of like, I guess, passion. I try to make it like unnecessarily horny, and like that's just like fun. It's just fun for me to do because I'm terrorizing Tavia. But like, I know it's like being kind of a bully, but also being like a needy bully. I guess that's the best way I can put it.
Great. Okay, Nikko, you hold a lot of power in this show over all the other characters. What was it like to find that in the rehearsal space before you got your costume?
Thank you. That's a good question. I think it was kind of difficult for me at first because like I'd read the text and I'm like, I know this person and I can visualize who they'd be, but when I look in the mirror, I'm like, that's just Nikko, and she's not like that at all. So I think like the shoes kind of helped a lot because in my head I knew what I was trying to do, but when I got the shoes, it was like I got my power. I don't know. But yeah, and I think my castmates helped a lot, and we did like an improv exercise that kind of helped me to feel out the part. And yeah.
Carter, what did you do to connect and bond with your actors to make the show flow the way that it does?
Well, I think a significant thing to mention here is that these guys were all already my friends, so that went a long way. But no, yeah, it was those improv exercises. It was, maybe maybe we'd spend a little time to just like have a conversation. We check in start of every rehearsal, and usually that like turns into its own kind of conversation. So it's just creating a space where people can be open about how they're feeling, or people can talk about what's going on in their lives or what they think is funny that day or anything. I feel like that went a long way.
All right. Rain, where do you want to take this script now that you've seen it produced on stage?
I'm gonna make Cinnamon a character. Yeah, I don't know. I wanna keep developing it. I think whether or not I will is up for debate. But I've thought about like adding some of the other characters that get named when Bird is trying to figure out who the hell Paperweight is, like Siggy. I think that Siggy would be funny. I think that they'd just be the office smoker. Come on, I'm going for a smoke, leave immediately. I don't know, something like that. So I want to like add in more office caricatures, and I think maybe lengthen some of those moments outside of the space, outside of the office, and help those like help people like understand like why it is things are happening, just a little bit better. Yeah.
Great. All right. Taelyn, there are tons of props that subtly swap out throughout the show, specifically the stapler. What was the idea behind having that?
The stapler is a direct reference to Office Space. It's a little bit bigger in the the movie, but it was a big inspiration for Carter for the design process, and I figured having stuff like that is just it's really fun. It's a little bit of a callback. The little props and the things that switch out and kind of the magic that happens like on stage that's a little bit more subtle comes from the themes of the ship of Theseus and how things slowly change and move throughout time, and how even though things swap out and change, is it really the same ship? And that kind of reflects the progression of Bird's character.
All right, Owen. What went behind all of the visual lighting gags, and how did you navigate all of the script shifts in topic and tone?
Oh, Lord. Okay. So for the bits and lighting gags and things that I did, a lot of them actually came about quite late in the process. For example, the whole Harambe situation only happened probably about 2 days before show happened. So a lot of those visual gags were just stuff I thought, hey, this is absurdist piece. Let's have some fun. Let's do some crazy stuff. I don't want to be bland. I want to do something crazy. Just wanted to have fun with them, with some stuff. Me and Carter developed the light on Kacie when Kacie does the little dance. That was an offer directly from Carter in a rehearsal. But yeah, just wanted to have fun. The tonal shifts were not easy. Thanks, Rain. Thank you. But yeah, it was a good time. I enjoyed myself. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. But, yeah.
Okay, Isaac. There is buzzing that runs throughout the entire show. It's a cool choice that makes The Office feel very natural. How was it blending the naturalism with the goofy additional sound effects?
The buzzing is something fun that's almost goes unnoticed throughout the entire show. There was points during actual rehearsals where I just played the buzzing effect and no one would notice until we pointed it out to them. It's supposed to be subtle, but it's supposed to be something that you both can hear come in, forget about, and then realize that it's still there. There's a points in the play where it just goes silent because, you forget about it, and then it comes back, and just that subtle reminder of something's always there, kind of like what we see with Bird, of something's always going on, something's always happening, and even though we could forget about, it will come back and it'll be noticeable again.
Awesome. Okay, last but not least, Kacie. A lot of the movement comes across as very frenetic and almost improvised. What's it like to keep track of that all?
So a lot of it is improvised. And what I was told to write in my script was actor told to improvise. So I marked some bigger movements that were consistent, particularly bigger movements that I might need to call a cue off of, and then I left the rest because everything just changed each night. Even in rehearsal, there was a new offer every day. So.
All right. That concludes our talkback for Theater Extras production of The Drinking Bird. Thanks for coming.